Hello, I'm TJ Couch from the Life Enrichment Center, and you're watching Tampa Bay Community Network.
Hello and welcome. My name is Linda Saul-Sena, and it is my great pleasure today to welcome you to Culture Vultures. With me today are the folks from the Life Enrichment Center, the director, Maureen Murphy, and a board member, TJ Couch. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I am new to your programming. Let's take it from the top. TJ, you've been on the board for a while. How long has the Life Enrichment Center been here in our community?
Our history goes back 30 years now, and it was formed with a consortium of churches that looked at their older parishioners, and there was a lot of idle time, and folks weren't as engaged as they could be. And they looked for a solution to be able to get the older adults re-engaged. And the Life Enrichment Center was created as a result of that.
Tell me where it's located.
We are located on North Boulevard near Chamberlain High School in the Forest Hills area.
And you've been a board member for several years?
10 years now.
Oh my goodness.
And it was actually the first not-for-profit board that I ever joined. So it has a very special place in my heart.
That's great. Now, Maureen, you're relatively new to our community.
Yes, I am.
So tell me how you came to come here.
I had the opportunity of giving a couple talks for the Florida Division of Cultural Affairs in the Tampa area. I also worked closely with VSA Florida, who is located down here, as well as the FAAE, which was the Florida Alliance for Art Education, through my job with the division. And I had made friends. We had done a lot of trainings down here. It's a beautiful area. And that's how I ended up in Tampa.
So when did you start working with the Life Enrichment Center?
Last summer.
Oh my goodness, so
summer.
welcome. Bienvenido a Tampa. And what kinds of classes do you offer?
We offer a variety of classes. We have everything from writing classes, clay, pastel, watercolor, Tai Chi, dance. We have stamp collectors. We have Latin Club. We have the Bonsai Society. We just have a wide range, and the art classes that we have are all taught by professional artists.
That's great.
And dancers and writers.
How much do you charge for the classes?
Our rates are extremely reasonable for the classes and the quality, and it's a goal for us to actually keep it that way, keep it affordable, and we have some amazing instructors, and they teach all over the country, and for us, they do an amazing job, and we're very happy to have them.
What a resource in the community. This is fantastic. How do you decide what classes to offer?
We take polls. We find interest. We garner an idea and find a teacher, and then we have this wonderful program for Lunch and Learns on Wednesdays from 12 to 1 that are free, and we'll have a teacher do a demonstration, and if more people want to take class or do a workshop, then we actually provide that. Being an individual nonprofit and having the flexibility to do that and hire people and run the class the next month is unique in that aspect of what we do. We have the ability to go, okay, we're going to have a workshop on indigo dyeing, and we do.
That's fabulous. So you're really independent and really flexible.
We are. And our artists demand that. They always want new challenges, as well as the challenges that they deal with every day in their individual classes.
So tell me about your participants.
Oh, they're amazing. They're the best part of my job. We have a wide variety of age groups. Generally, our population is over 55. We have
A growing group, I might add.
a growing group, a very, and our members were CEOs and teachers and nurses, and they all come together no matter what their backgrounds, diversity levels, and they all speak the same language in their classes. It's a unifying thing for the arts to be able to impact people that way. They all speak the same language and help each other, push each other, get better, give advice, and become friends. And in a community that they wouldn't necessarily have been able to access otherwise. And it's much more like a family environment, I think, than a regular art school in that regard.
That's really a special thing to offer the community. Is that what attracted you to serve on the board?
You know, as it turns out, and I didn't know this at the time, but my father was actually one of the founding board members of the organization.
You didn't know it?
I did not know that.
That's funny.
He never mentioned that. In fact, I didn't find that out until I was going through some historical paperwork and saw my dad's name there. And, you know, I asked him about it. But I was asked to join the board by a banking professional that I had worked with, and she had been involved with the board for a number of years. And as I say, it was my first board. I didn't, you know, I had worked in the not-for-profit industry as a staffer for 20 years.
And doing what?
I started out at Mosey in 1985 as a cashier in the gift shop.
Wow.
And worked through the exhibits department, developing and building exhibits, and the education department, performing and creating programs for the museum. And ultimately, when I left the museum, I was the director of business enterprises, which
wow.
which included the IMAX theater. You know, that the IMAX Dome Theater at Mosey was my baby.
Congratulations! That's quite an undertaking, quite an accomplishment.
Yeah. So I was familiar, you know, with how not-for-profits work, but to a lesser extent the board process. So I saw it as a learning opportunity. What was very appealing was it was a small organization and a small board, and so you could tell in my initial interviews with the organization that the individual can really affect change, and so that appealed greatly to me. And my grandmother was a student.
Oh, that's great.
Years before, so.
And as a painter, a dancer?
Yeah, she took some painting classes, and it was very, very important to her, and filled a critical role in her life, especially as she, you know, continued to age.
Well, painting is something we know that you can begin at any age, and you just continue to get better, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. A lifelong learning process is one of the goals that we have with the organization.
But one of the things I heard you say is the sense of community that's created among the people sharing a particular interest. That's really special.
And they also are cross-discipline, so they meet in different media, as well as we have multiple educational things where they all get together and get to meet other people from other classes.
Oh, really? How does that work?
Well, the lunch and loans are part of that, and we also do a lot of social events out in the community. We have, we just have a show at the Germany Library.
Oh, great.
We had a musician perform on Sunday, and we have, I think, 60 pieces of art up at this point. We had an intergenerational dance project that just happened at FSU. That was fantastic. A modern art piece was performed. So not only do they get to do it within the center, we actually go out into the community. We are in multiple libraries. We try to exhibit as much as possible out in the community. We are also show at Bamboozled Tea Room and all kinds of things. So our artists are constantly working and showing, and so that's one part of it. And then the other is that, you know, in-house we also do fundraisers like Aston Gardens every year. We also do Art Under the Trees and some other outreach to the communities where we recently just did a salsa class at a rehab.
What a dynamic schedule. I've had individual friends who've taken classes there, but I did not understand the breadth of your offerings. So do you do any oral histories?
We do storytelling. In our creative writing class, we actually have published a book called Pages of My Life that Paula Stahill took over this class, and she's actually edited the book. It's also being used at the moment for the books that they use for the Aging in Studies group at USF.
Well, the fact is that y'all are right up the street from the University of South Florida, and I know they have programs that are looking at how to improve life for people as we get older, and so it makes sense that there'd be a relationship between you and the university.
We also did a promotion and a presentation. We had our artists come with us, and we had about 25 pieces of artwork, and the Aging Studies students got to interview our artists.
How perfect, that's
it was
great.
Fantastic, and we had a CEO of a company that was just saying, if you love it, just wake up, breathe it, eat it, sleep it. And he's like, you'd be the best at it. And he said, that's what I do with my painting now. And that's what you do with your career. Because if you're not doing that, you're not doing it right. And it needs to be fun.
Oh, that's great.
It was the best advice, I think somebody in that group could have possibly been given or received. It was great.
So board members make connections with people in the community. What is your role as a board member?
Well, of course, to provide oversight and be a sounding board for Maureen. Sometimes it's a little bit of whip cracking. Sometimes it's a little bit of pulling back on the reins. She's very dynamic and tries to do a lot for the organization, but she is only one person. We act as ambassadors for the organization. It is a phenomenal organization with a great story, and as we are out in the community, of course, we're their biggest cheerleader.
And making connections for the programs, I imagine, and you probably bring potential teachers or students to the center.
Yes, and of course the all-important fundraising aspect.
Always.
There's always a need, and the challenge is getting the word out. Once people learn about the program, they're hooked and want to support it.
Is the program still affiliated with the 30 churches that got it going in the first place?
No, we are completely independent now, 501c3 not-for-profit organization.
But you can still connect with them in terms of publicizing the classes or the activities.
Sure, we are located contiguous to one of the founding churches, and there are 5 other in the immediate Forest Hills area, and they also provide tactical support as well. Not only do their parishioners attend the organization, but we also hold classes at the churches.
Oh, that's
because,
great.
Space is finite, and all the different programs that Maureen rattled off. Space is a challenge when you're that diverse.
Well, one of the things that struck me is that 30 years ago you got going?
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago, Forest Hills was toward the north of Tampa. Now, as the whole region has grown, it's sort of smack in the middle, which makes it that much more attractive for people wanting to take classes. And it's also near a couple of adult congregate centers for proximity, which is nice. It's near the university, which is terrific.
The programs are so renowned that we actually have folks driving from across the bay and Polk County and
easily. We have over an hour away because there's nobody that offers what we do. It's really interesting that we have so many individuals that come and drive as long as they do.
Well, given the challenge of traffic, that is a huge compliment. for something that's not required but strictly to enjoy.
It is. Well, and they also travel from further away for our workshops and some of the things that we offer, because we're the only people doing things like fiber arts and, offering things like gilding and other activities. So we really try to keep it diverse and try to keep it fresh.
Well, the Life Enrichment Center sounds amazing. We're going to take a short break now, and we'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back. My name is Linda Saul-Sena, and it's a pleasure to welcome you back to Culture Vultures today. I have wonderful guests, TJ Couch, Maureen Murphy, and we're talking about the Life Enrichment Center. So TJ, you were going to share with me about your activities out in the community.
Sure. We feel that it's important to not only do what we do at our location, but to go out into the community. And one of the programs that we do is we put together traveling art shows featuring the product of our students. Jan Platt was is an honorary board member now and was very active on our board for many years. And at every board meeting, she was talking, always being the advocate for the library system. She was always talking about the libraries need art. We should be taking our artwork out and placing it in libraries. Logistically, that's a challenge for an organization that is, small and compact as we are. Who's going to hang the show? How are we going to transport all these paintings? But Jan was constantly pushing us to do that. And I was elected chair, and one of the first things that I did was, said, Jan, we are going to do this. And we named it in her honor, and she
that's lovely.
Was just so pleased that it finally happened. Good things take time. So we have the Jan Platt Library Traveling Gallery.
And how do you do it? How do you pack up everything and take it around?
Well, we recruit volunteers with spacious cars, and and we have a good team of folks that have experience in properly hanging, and it's really a group effort.
Do individual artists frame their own work, or do you all get the work framed?
I believe the artists frame their own, do they not?
We actually have a framing studio in the back of the building.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
So we're doing workshops on that so they can do more of their own, because the cost can be prohibitive,
Sure.
Especially if you show as much as our members do. And one of our board members, Bill Adler, has been instrumental in reaching out to the libraries and communicating with them and setting up the dates and helping us get the products down there. And then the other thing that we're doing is we're actually doing art classes. We're doing outreach through a Hillsborough County grant, where we will be having classes of all different types depending on what the audience holds for each library.
That's great.
We're going to be doing classes out there as well.
You frame, you transport, you hang. That's really a complete art service. It's great for the libraries, and it's great for the artists to be able to know that their work is being enjoyed in the community.
Absolutely, they are so proud. And at every single opening, we put together an event where they can bring family and friends, and actually say, this is my artwork hanging on the wall in a public space, and it's very special to them.
So you have openings at the libraries?
Yes, we do.
That's great. And we were talking before about how meaningful it is to individuals to be engaged in some of these classes. Would you share that, Maureen?
It is very meaningful for people to be engaged. Not only that, the interesting studies that are starting to come out and starting to be really looked at as far as what happens when somebody engages in the arts, whether it's music or movement or through fine arts. If they're done by a professional teacher and they actually get to engage and explore a new medium and challenge themselves, they have pride in what they create. They get to share it with their communities. It's proven to actually help cognitive thinking and balance. There are less falls, there are less doctor visits, there are less prescription needs.
Really?
The effects are so far-reaching, it's beyond what anybody has had the capacity yet to really study. But they have done studies over and over again on the beneficial effects that it has on a therapy basis after an injury or to rehab somebody. This, what they're finding out now and what programs are actually working on is making it a preventative measure, in that if you keep somebody happy, healthy, being involved, being social, thinking, challenging themselves, and working in different mediums and having fun, which is so important. It's very important to be happy.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I believe in it as a basic life view.
I think most people do.
Isn't it that it's so interesting? Our culture is so strange in that we tend to think that you have to monetize everything, but it's kind of cool that you're showing that it saves money to be happy, because then you have fewer health problems, which are expensive. And that the more connected you are to other people, that is it's an economic benefit as well as a, you know, quality of life and spiritual benefit.
Oh, and the economic benefit also reaches out to the restaurants that the work is showing at, the artwork that sells, the teachers that we hire, which are primarily seniors.
You mean the restaurants do better if people's artwork is in them?
Yes, absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. And our artists are more involved in the community because they're happier. They're more engaged, they're more active, they're more social because they're engaged with us. So it does make a big difference.
That's a total win-win.
Yeah, and as an artist and as somebody that used to learn this in school, I had a teacher that always said, "Where's the fun part?" And if we're not having fun, we're not doing it right, and that's what we're there to do.
That is just great, and it's affordable.
Yes, extremely.
And certainly more fun to spend money on than medicine, for example.
Yes.
Now, you are an artist. Tell me about your background.
I was fortunate enough to actually get away with being an artist for a living. It was a wonderful endeavor. I owned a business where I did art and antique restoration. I served the Palm Beach area. Prior to that, I did it the old-fashioned way. I actually apprenticed for 5 years under a number of different people. I got to work on the ceiling and the breakers. And
really?
I got to work
Wow.
with a woodworker and a marble person and a paper restorer and a painting restorer.
So did you sort of come up to these artists and say, "Hi, my name is Maureen and I want to learn how to do what you do"? How did you create those opportunities for yourself?
I did. I did. I actually went to the best one of the conservator in the area, and I said, "I'll work for free." And I had a night job, and I went from one job to the other. And I had different days for different people. And I was just...
That's fabulous.
Yes, it was fantastic. And the diversity was amazing because I got to do the sets for Miami City Ballet and work with the original designer for Cats and Hello Dolly sets. And I mean,
wow.
Really amazing opportunities. And the teachers that I got to work for in Philadelphia and things like that were also amazing people in their communities. So I've had a wealth of knowledge passed down to me. It's amazing what you can talk people into when you work for free.
That is true. And it's really one of the secrets of the universe. My experience was that I had worked as a waitress where I wasn't very well paid, and I came home at a certain point back to Tampa, and I said I'd rather work for free doing something that's really fun than something that I'm not so well. I wasn't a very good waitress. Anyway, so I did. I lived with my parents and I worked for free and did something I loved, and then they hired me because they saw I was hardworking. And just as you became a conservator.
Yes, yes. Being an artist, generally there's a lot of perfectionism that goes on in that realm, and it has the capacity to allow you to have control, to be able to fulfill that perfectionism if you are so inclined. And with restoration, it was really interesting because it was a constant problem-solving process. Every piece had its own history. its own individual and unique needs. And it was always a challenge, which was the fun part for me.
What was this is a little off topic, but fun. So what was the most surprising thing that you had to restore that you figured out how to restore?
I had a terracotta fireplace that came in 86 pieces.
Oh my goodness. It was shipped from one place to another?
It was from France. It was from the 1400s. And
wow.
There were no instructions, no pictures, and it was broken.
No pictures?
It was a puzzle to beat all puzzles, and it was fantastic. And when we finished it, we didn't even have any pieces left. I had 4 or 5 people working for me, and literally it was a painstaking process where we put multiple tables together and laid out piece by piece. It was 14 feet high. And we did it for the DuPonts. It was an incredible piece.
Well, it seems to me that running the Life Enrichment Center is a whole lot simpler than that. Many moving pieces, certainly, but you have a sense of how it's all going to fit together.
Well, and every individual piece of it is important. Every person is important. The quality of what we do is important. And the professionalism and the trust and the respect that we have for our students, respecting artists, all of those pieces are important.
Well, the fact that you insist upon hiring professional artists as your teachers, I think, is very significant.
Not only that, they have to be fun.
Well, and that too.
Yeah.
And that too. So do you do any theater, or is your plate full enough with music, visual arts, movement?
We've recently been asked to look into that, and we had a improv class scheduled, and we're going to work on that in the fall.
So do you have many opportunities for your board members to take classes, or is that a good thing? Is that awkward? How does that work, TJ?
Well, as board policy, we actually have students on the board.
Oh, that's great.
So that everyone, has a vested interest in it, and they bring a perspective that might be lacking. So as principal, we do that.
I think that's a great policy. That's very innovative. It sounds like you've got a dynamic operation going there.
Well, a fun project that we recently did, the actual building that we operate in is an old house that was built in the 50s or 60s. It was in the neighborhood, and it has been converted into classroom space. But the outside of the building wasn't fun.
So it's one-story cement block, that kind of thing? Okay,
and,
sort of ranch style.
And Maureen had the idea that we should have a mural on the front of the building.
Oh, I love this idea.
And put together a team of artists that were students, instructors, even the board members picked up a brush, and we had a mural painting day at the center that was a lot of fun.
And did you complete it?
I think there's more that we can do. I mean, there are several sides to the building, and we can expand upon what we have there as time allows and as ideas are created. I think you should talk about the overall art concept. We actually have our students as characters in the mural.
Oh, that's clever.
So the idea is that once it reaches the building, you have a person painting himself into existence. It's all very tongue-in-cheek. It reflects the sense of humor and the sense of play that our artists have and the creativity that they have with it. And we are going to be doing the other 2 sides of the building, and we're looking forward to that. We had a lot of help.
Thank you, Maureen and TJ, for all your work with the Life Enrichment Center. It sounds like a really special place. And thank all of you for joining us here today at Culture Vultures. Take care.